Oh, you hear that, Castor? That is the sound of perfection, my friend.
Core memory unlocked.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Extra Credits. The one show that's about video games, and sometimes other stuff like boobies. I don't know. Joining me is my very dead co-star. He may be dead in flesh, but he's not a dead of mind. We have Castor the Gravedigger.
Hello, my lovely duckies. How are you doing this very special episode?
How are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. I just had my brain massage there for a second in that opening.
Oh yeah, I just um I couldn't think of like anything more perfect for the intro for that.
Yeah,
But yeah, have you had a good weekend? And chat, have you guys have a good weekend?
that has been pretty good.
Mine's been pretty good. I was doing a Comic-Con all weekend. Did pretty well. Sold a lot of copies of Screecher, a lot. Broke some records, but we got a headline. Let's talk about this headline, and before we get to the main topic. Let's go.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, Castor and I.
All right. Welcome to Headline Hysteria. We're talking about everything that's important, just not important for full stream. Before we get started, we do have our first commenter. Loyal subscriber Black Reaper Kai is saying, "How perfect." Yes, sir. You are correct as always. We love you, Black Reaper. But the topic we have is Nintendo made an announcement. And honestly, when Nintendo makes an announcement, you kind of just flip your coin. It's either the coolest thing ever or the worst thing ever. And this time, we didn't flip well. So, Cass, did you hear about this?
Yeah, I got an email regarding it, and I did not like it at all.
Yeah, Castor will remember this. But so for those, yes, Black Reaper, you are first. As always, you are first. The Reaper King is always first.
First among commenters.
Yes, never last, always first. But they're getting rid of the gold coins. For those who aren't aware, basically you buy a new game, you get gold coins, whether physical or digital, and then you can put that towards a new game. Kind of a cool thing. Is a replacement for Club Nintendo. And they're scrapping it. They're getting rid of gold coins, so they'll spend them or lose them. Castor, what are your thoughts?
Uh, I really don't know why they're getting rid of them. I mean, it was a nice program, a nice way to earn stuff and get stuff back. But I don't know. I feel like it's cheap. I don't know what. I don't know the thing behind it, the reasoning why. I don't know what
Mm-hmm.
explanation they gave. But it's pretty stupid, in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel like this is one of those situations where they're planning on replacing it with something else. I have no evidence to back it up. That is 100% pure speculation. God, I that was oh God, that was cringe. Um, but yeah, time will only tell with that, you know.
Hmm.
But so before we get to the main topic, I need to pay some bills. So as you know, we got monetized. So super chats are active. So feel free to send those along. But I also recently activated memberships, and we have our first member, and thus, as part of the obligations, I have to shout them out. So, Jason Ingram, we love you, buddy. Thank you so much for being the first torchbearer, and you too can be a torchbearer. For $5 a month, you get loyalty badges like Screecher and Phoenix Press Team loyalty badge emojis, photos and stats update, member shoutouts on every stream, which is why we're shouting out about Jason Ingram. We love you, buddy. Priority concepts, and then also once I get enough people, I will do an exclusive live stream every month. So like once I get like 3 or 4 people, we can kind of round some out. We will do something, and I'll either be me alone or it'll be some other people. So Castor, what do you think of this members perks listed for the price? You think it's a pretty good deal? And be honest, if you don't like it, that's fine. Say so. You can fully say that.
Well, I mean, you got to. I mean, you got to pay the bill somehow, right? And it's always nice, but you get something for being a member. So I think it's pretty nice.
So you think $4.99 a month for all this is pretty fair?
I think it's pretty fair. There's a lot of places where you get less, so yeah, I think it's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, I know some people do like a bunch of tiers, but like I don't know. I just really couldn't think of multiple tiers. So I just did one. It's fine. All right. So before we got some Blacker Bakai is I am the torch, and he burns everything. Yeah, you kind of do, buddy. You kind of do. Yeah, but you want to know what I didn't get burned by? The Sony PlayStation. That was a really bad segue. So, Castor, what does the Sony PlayStation mean to you?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
What does the Sony PlayStation mean to you?
I mean, it means a lot of things. I mean, to me, it's a little bit of everything. It's a little bit of defiance. It's a little bit of kind of like this like grunge era underground rock kind of feel to it. I mean, it was like just something really cool. I think it was riding that '90s extreme, kind of coolness that they were trying to sell.
Yeah.
the edginess.
Yeah, it was the Pearl Jam of video game consoles.
Pretty much, there was like, because then you had like, you had PlayStation Underground, it's like, shh, it's only for us, not them, exclusive club, and it just felt really cool. Like it was a really great system, really great games.
Mm-hmm.
And there was just, like I said, there was just this attitude behind the marketing. Now, maybe that's different in like Japan. Maybe they had a different kind of feel for it, but in America, that's the way they went with it. It was like, you got to have a pair of these if you want to play it. Remember all the extreme adverts in game magazines.
You gotta have ginormous.
Yeah, it'd be like you have a guy have like two brass balls in his hand. It's like you got to have a pair of these if you want to play this game. Just I don't know. It was such a wonderful time, and a lot of great. A lot of great, memories. A lot of great.
So speaking of adverts, I don't think we'll get copyright struck for these, but we'll play a fire. Oh, okay.
Jet Moto.
I could never get this game to work.
Hey, lady! Come on, hit the gas! You're killing me out here!
Jet Moto 2, more tracks, more control, more speed. Take advantage of it.
And turn off the blinker!
That's what I'm saying. It was that kind of air, the attitude.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. It definitely hit like that kind of vibe. Like I get what you're saying. It definitely had that like late '90s like skater edge, and also kind of like that Matrix vibe a little bit.
Yeah, like and nothing symbolizes that more than like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, which was on there.
Well, what's funny is the Tony Hawk games actually came pretty late in the life because the first one was 2000, like 1999.
Yeah, they're pretty late to the game in there. I remember you could play as Spider-Man because they were both the Spider-Man games and the Tony Hawk games were both done by Neversoft.
Yeah, and like another series, I think it's emblematic of the PlayStation, Twisted Metal.
Yes. Twisted Metal 2 is one of my favorite regular PlayStation games of all time.
I could never really get the hang of it.
Oh, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I remember one time a bunch of us went to Florida and we brought the PlayStation 2 with us. And we would do split screen Twisted Metal 2 in the hotel. And we had we took a sheet and held it like a paperweight on top of the TV to hold it, and then tied the other end to like a chair, so we had like a divider, so we couldn't watch, couldn't screen watch the other person. Yes,
Oh
yes, boys and
God, screen
girls.
peeking.
Yeah, yes, boys and girls. We had to share the same TV if we wanted to play multiplayer back in the day.
Oh, I remember. I mean, I like okay. This is a bit of a tangent here. I'm old enough that I remember when I got so pissed off my sister hogging the internet, I would literally yank the phone cord out just to get her disconnected.
Oh wow, that's some evil shit right there. I gotta respect.
Yes, you as a villain, you should respect it.
Yes. It's what in the biz we call a dick move. Very technical term.
Yes, extremely, extremely.
Um, but
Remember
yeah,
how Laura Croft was everywhere?
yes, Laura Croft was almost. I would say she was almost the unofficial mascot of the PlayStation at one point.
It was
'Cause
either Laura Croft or Crash.
Laura Croft or Crash, because they were always on there. Oh man, I tell you what, Laura Croft, she was everywhere, and I did not mind that. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That was another thing too. Is like it was really a I mean, they had done this before in other, gaming systems and gaming generations, but this was really like the system. This is to me, this is the time when they really ramped up the sex sells in gaming. You know,
Yeah.
yes, Spyro. Yes, Spyro. Awesome,
Oh, go.
awesome
Yeah.
game.
Yes. Awesome. Awesome game. All right. I'm gonna show for a scene from Tomb Raider 2, and I know as soon as it starts, Cass will be like, "Yep. Yep. All right. Here you go, buddy."
Oh yeah, the ending
Don't
of
you think you've seen enough?
yeah. See, there was that attitude about it.
Oh, I love how it almost immediately goes into my video. That would have been Inception.
Oh no, we're gonna loop around. Oh no. But yeah, it was that was the ending to Tomb Raider 2. So yeah, like I said, there was that attitude. They knew what they were doing.
Mhm.
Like I said, it was like sex sells. So you had hot women everywhere. On every game. Um, but this is like so many great series also got their start on the PlayStation.
Mhm.
We had like the Resident Evil series. Got its start there.
Yeah.
Um, like Spyro, as he mentioned there, Crash
Gran
Bandicoot
Turismo.
series, Gran
Gran Turismo.
Turismo, yep, Gran Turismo, the Crash Bandicoot series, um, and then also um, a good chunk of very memorable Final Fantasy games.
Well,
You know,
speaking of Final Fantasy, I think it like it is like the coldest take ever that the PS1 was Square's most golden of golden eras. Like
I,
the
I would,
PS1 era, like
the
yeah.
PS1 era was well. Here's the thing: not just Square, but the PS1 was, I believe, a golden era for RPG/JRPGs. I
And
mean, it was just
we all
a
have Final
wonderful
Fantasy
time.
7 to thank for that. Like the thing you got to realize is there were a few RPGs that came out pre Final Fantasy 7, but Final Fantasy 7 literally blew the doors off, and like everyone was trying to bring in RPGs after that.
Exactly. It opened up the door. Final Fantasy VII, and there's people who hate it. I don't know why people would hate the game. You cannot like it, but I don't know why people hate it. But there's people who hate Final Fantasy VII, but you cannot deny it was a reason. It was a system seller. It was a reason people were buying. It was one of the games people go out and buy a PlayStation 4.
Most
Because it was an exclusive to there. Also confused the hell out of everybody else who had been playing Final Fantasy up to that point, because we were like, wait, where the hell is the rest of the Final Fantasy games? Because this is the first time that it was actual. This is the first time where both the Japanese and American versions were the same numerical version.
So for
Because
those who weren't aware, okay, let me kind of explain this. So we got Final Fantasy 1 on the NES, okay? And then on the Super Nintendo, we got Final Fantasy 2 and 3. But those aren't actually like Final Fantasy 2 and 3. What we got for Final Fantasy 2 and 3 is actually Final Fantasy 4 and Final Fantasy 6. So Final Fantasy 2 and 3 were released on the NES. We didn't get Final Fantasy 3 until the DS. Like the DS remake, that like it was like mid 2000s before that game came out in America. It's that long.
Mm-hmm.
Like 2, 4, and 5, like they did anthology collections in like the early 2000s for those. But yeah,
Yeah, actually, up to that point, I think up to that point, you could play every single Final Fantasy game on PlayStation, because they had Final Fantasy Origins, which was 1 and 2. You had I think three. Well, again, three was probably the one you couldn't play, but you had the anthology series where you could play. I believe you could play 5 and 6, and then you had Final Fantasy. Um, oh, I forgot the other one.
I don't think there was a third one.
Yeah, there was a third Final Fantasy one where it had Final Fantasy 4 and Chrono Trigger.
That might be anthology. I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Origins 1 and 2. Yeah, it says 5 and 6. While the European edition released in 2002 includes ports of Final Fantasy 4 and 5. I do remember they released Chrono Trigger. Yeah, and by the way, that was a really bad port for the PS1. Yeah, because it had
Well, I thought it was a decent port, but it was like it had cutscenes. Chronicles. That's what it was. Final Fantasy Chronicles. Yeah, I thought it was a decent port, but it tried to do the animated cutscenes, but they were so choppy.
I mean, they're good cutscenes. I mean, they're Toei animation.
Yeah. Now, but that and then later on, we would get Chrono Trigger, the DS port, and that would be
that's so
that.
good.
Yeah, that is to me that is the definitive way to play.
I think the PC version is fine. I don't mind the PC version.
Yeah, I'm saying I think the DS version is the definitive way to play it on consoles and stuff.
Yeah, I've owned the DS version. It is magic.
Yes, and it runs smooth and everything. It's great.
Yeah, the menus are great. The touch control integration is awesome. But yeah, like so many good RPGs. Xenogears.
Yep, Xenogears.
Star Ocean, Second Story.
Vagrant Story. Then you had
Saga Frontier 1 and 2. Oh gosh.
Wild Arms.
Yeah.
And then you
Chrono
had
Cross.
Chrono Cross, which is one of my personal favorites. And then you had the Lunar remakes on there,
Yep. Working Designs.
working
Which is really
designs.
funny. Here's something that I find really funny is in the 2000s and 2010s, Working Designs was really popular. Like people were collecting Working Designs games. Like they had a cult following. Nowadays, most people don't really talk about Working Designs. And in fact, people go like if you look on emulation sites, there's you can find a like an unworking designs. Like they actually undo, they retranslate games.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
I just find that funny nowadays.
yeah.
Um, some of the ones I like, Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Classic game. Yep. They're actually working on a Genesis version of that, fan made.
Yeah, yeah. Well, fun fact: did you know there's supposed to be a Castlevania game for the 32X called Castlevania: The Bloodletting,
I did not know that.
and that's what eventually turned into Symphony of the Night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the more you know.
Yeah. Da-da-da.
Have you looked at the canceled Castlevania game for the Dreamcast?
No, I didn't.
It actually got leaked about a year or so back. It's like semi-playable.
Mm.
But for more on Sega stuff, tune in next week where we give our salute to Sega in general. So that's next week's topic. Oh gosh, but yeah, for me the PlayStation, there's so like such a variety of like awesome games. Like certain systems get known for like certain types of games. Like the Genesis didn't have very many RPGs. Well, the Super Nintendo had a lot of them. Versus the PlayStation, kind of had a little bit of everything. It pretty much filled every hole.
Yeah, like yeah, every niche is pretty much taken care of. I mean, we had you had excellent sports games. You had
NFL Blitz.
do what?
NFL Blitz is my favorite.
Oh yeah. You had all the great games. You had John Madden and stuff like that. You had 989
NFL Game Day.
Studios. Yep. And you had like basketball games and stuff like that. You had plethora of fighting games. You had like the Mortal Kombat trilogy series on there. You had
Second.
Tekken. You had Mortal Kombat Mythology Sub-Zero.
Oh my god.
Remember that one?
Yeah.
And then you had which I guess they tried to turn it into a genre, the car battle system, the car battle games, which we had Twisted Metal, and you had the Twisted Metal knockoff Vigilante 8, which was actually pretty good too.
Yeah, like that was the thing. Like it lasted up until like the PS2 generation, then it kind of petered out.
Yeah, it kind of really petered out. But then you had also great action games, great platformers.
Yeah, I was talking about Crash and Spyro. Kelowna.
Yeah, Kelowna. You had Tomba.
Oh my god, I love Tomba. It's like a platformer RPG with like a really like silly kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
And then you had all kinds of like little niche games in there where like you had Air Guys, God Bless the Ring.
Yeah, that was Square. That was Square. Like they were so flush with cash. They were like, you know what? Let's just try doing a shooting game. We have so much money. Let's experiment. And they end up making one of the best shmups ever.
Well, Air Guys is a fighting game.
Oh, okay. What? I'm thinking of something else.
Yeah, you're thinking of it's like Einlander or Einlander.
Einhander.
Yeah.
It was an E. That's what I was getting at. It was an
and
E.
That's another one too. Yeah, and I would tell you what, that I had a demo disc with that on it, and I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. That was a really great game, and I really should have gotten it because holy shit, that's a very expensive game today.
I mean, most games are like that really expensive.
Oh, I know,
The thing,
but it's definitely one of the heavy hitters in the PlayStation library when it comes to like how much you're paying out of the ass to get it.
yeah, another thing I liked about the PlayStation is it like, took franchise that already established and made them better without having to go 3D. Like we also talked about Castlevania, but also Mega Man X. Like Mega Man X4 is, oh my god, that is like one of the best games ever.
Yeah, yeah, it does a lot of great 2D games. Yeah,
Which is very weird because it was not made to be a 2D system. Like the Saturn was supposed to be a 2D system, and it does it well. But it seems like most people just more days talk about like the 2D games on the PlayStation.
hmm
Did you ever play Pandemonium?
no, I didn't, but I saw endless endless adverts for it.
It's a pretty fun game, a bit janky, but it's worth your time.
hmm And then also it's where we had the Legacy of Kain series start with Blood Omen, and then a few years later we had uh, Soul Reaver come out in 1999.
Thank you, Amy Hennig.
Yep, great writing in that one. Um, I mean, there's just so many great games. There's like great, like we talk about. There's great horror games such as like the
Silent Hill,
Silent Hill, Resident Evil. You had Dino Crisis. We had
Parasite Eve.
Parasite Eve, which is another Square game.
Like
You-
that's what I'm
everything goes
saying.
everything goes back to Square.
Like it goes back to square one.
Yeah.
But like Square, this just shows that Square was so on their game that they could experiment and still do bangers. You know,
Oh yeah. And then they had
like
also
Parasite Eve is a game that would never have gotten would never get greenlit today.
yeah. And then you had Parasite Eve 2. It also came out. It had the sequel.
Yeah.
And then man, I tell you what though, if the PlayStation was also a game where like man, you needed space because holy crap, there was a lot of double disc games. Like
Oh God, yes. Like even like 3 discs. I think Final Fantasy 8 had 4 discs. I think.
yep. Final Fantasy 7 had 3 discs. Final Fantasy 8 had like 4 discs. And then they would do something stupid where they would um I guess they would have a giant manual, so they would have to have a bigger like double case, but it would only have like one disc in it.
Oh,
Eh,
like I know. I remember there are some games that had like a regular size manual and 1 disc, but they still gave it like a double, like Contra Legacy of War, which is a god awful game, by the way. Oh my god, that is a
Uh-huh.
terrible game. But it had like the double disc, and it had like a regular size manual, but it only had one
hmm
disc in it. Like talking about false advertising.
Yep. And there was one game I had I forget which Square game it was, but it was a double disc game, but the game there's only one like the game there's only one game disc, and then the other one was like a demo disc.
We got some of
Um,
those. Like I remember Tobal #1 had a
hmm
Final Fantasy 7 demo, which is, by the way, the only reason that game sold so well.
Oh yeah. Total number one, Battle Arena Toshinden, great game.
Hmm.
Like you said, we had the Tekken games. I mean, it was just no matter what you wanted, it had it. And
Oh,
it,
speaking of fighting games, um, another one that I really love is Bushido Blade.
yep. hmm
Yeah, which I believe is yeah, it's a Square game. We're back to Square.
Yep. And then you had one of my favorite games, Future Cop LAPD.
I've heard
That
of
was
that game.
that was a fun game. Basically, you would it was like a shoot 'em up with the you had a cop car and you
Mhm.
drive around the streets and you'd shoot up bad guys and stuff, but it would your car would transform into like a two-legged mech, so you can go different places and you basically were like a mech thing and start shooting.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and then there was G Police, which was more of like a space game.
Yeah.
Um, it was also kind of a shoot 'em up too.
I remember they had. Did you ever play Asteroids for the PS1?
No, I don't think I have.
It's a remake of the classic Asteroids. It's basically just like a graphical update. The gameplay is essentially the same. I want to say Christopher Lloyd did voiceovers for it. This may be like me false remembering or Mandela effect or something. I'm looking up right now.
It was also like the era where you remember the early days of the PlayStation where they had them giant boxes.
Oh, the long boxes, yeah.
They had the giant long boxes, and they realized, hey, we could just put this in a music CD case.
Yeah, I think they only lasted like a year, maybe less.
Also, was where Armor Core got its start.
Yep. Yep. Which it is a Souls-like. That game is a Souls-like. It was a Souls-like before Souls-like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played bits and pieces of that game. Yeah, sometimes it does this where it gets just has problem loading.
But we also had the wonderful, awesome port of Diablo on the PlayStation.
Yeah, that was a really good port.
Really good port.
I liked it because they adapted its controls really well, in my opinion.
Yes. And I do think that I do like the PC version better, control wise and everything. But they did an amazing job with the PlayStation 1. Completely playable.
Check this out. Oh my god. Never mind. Sometimes this happens with longer videos, I guess. But yeah, it's just a game I remember. Do you ever play Colony Wars?
Oh god, that sounds so familiar. I think I did. You know what? I think I did. I think I did. Yeah, and I'm core memory unlocked it. It sounded so familiar. I was like, I know. I think I played that.
All right, I got it.
You have cleared the sector. Happy hunting.
Oh my god. There we go. I had it working like a second ago. This is like. There we go.
Oh wow.
Like it's pretty much exactly the same gameplay, just with better graphics. And honestly, the graphics aren't too bad. Like even by today's standards, they aren't terrible.
Yeah. It just goes to show that good gameplay is what you really want.
Yeah, I mean it's a pretty like simplistic premise. But do you remember the Namco arcade collectors that had like an actual museum you could explore?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, the Namco arcade game where they had like Pac-Man, things like that. Namco actually had some good games on there too. Bandai Namco.
Oh yeah, Bandai was really good. Like obviously we talked about Tekken. What are some other good Bandai games?
Well, I know probably one of the more expensive games that was on the PlayStation, and you had to like really find it. Was they had like Dragon Ball Z Final Bout.
Oh gosh, yeah. Like a lot of those DBZ games didn't end up coming out till like the end of the system's lifetime, like 2000, 2001.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them even came out as late as 2003.
Yeah, and this is also like an era where this was still in the era of buying like imported consoles too, and buying imported games.
Oh yeah, or I remember people had mod chips back in the day.
Yep, this is where people started modding their stuff to where it could play region free. Yeah, so every once in a while, if you find a PlayStation at a yard sale, chances are it might have a mod in it. You never know it.
Yeah, I remember there was like Action Replay that you can like make it region free or use it as like a swap disc kind of thing.
Oh yeah, this is where we had Game Shark. Yeah,
Yeah, Game Shark, that kind of thing. Yeah.
I had a Game Shark peripheral. It plugged into the serial port on the back of the
Oh, you
PlayStation.
had an original PlayStation. That's an early model for that.
Yeah,
That's an early model right there.
yeah, and it plugged into the serial port in the back, and it acted as it was the I forget what it was called, but the device, but it was a Game Shark device, and what it was is you could actually go into the game and rewrite the code or insert code of your own to make your own cheat codes. Um, but you could also ruin your shit too. That's another thing. But
Yeah.
they showed you like how to like get because you had to learn how to work the hexadecimal system. That's what it was. So like they were, I remember watching the tape that came with it, the videotape that came with
Yes.
it.
Yes. This is how long ago it was.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was
it
a
had a
freaking tape.
yeah, it had a VHS tape came with it. And it was like okay, say you're playing Tenchu, and you get hit. You'll stop it, pause it, go into the Game Shark menu, look at what numbers have changed, and then change that value to this and that. Now look, now you have infinite health. Basically, it was you were changing the code to where your life wouldn't go down any further.
Hacker Man.
Yeah, but the best thing about that peripheral, though, I never really used it for the hacking. I used it because that thing had that thing also served as a ginormous memory card.
Oh
It
my
had
god.
it had like 10 memory cards worth on there. It was amazing. You always had space.
Oh god. Speaking of memory cards, one sec. I think I have. Like for those who don't remember what a PS1 memory card. I think I have one around here. Castor, fill some space. Oh, yeah, I got it right here. Yeah, that's how weird I am. I literally just have a PS1 memory card lying around.
hmm hmm
All right, let me just full screen myself for a second. All right, this is a PS1 memory card. This holds like I think 8K, 16K, like 128K or like something stupid like that. 128K. You have gifts that are larger than this memory card. Oh, welcome back, sir.
There we go. Okay, yeah, the camera was messed up, so I had to refresh.
Oh, yep. I
Yep,
was showing.
yep.
I was.
Now, if you think you were pissed off back in the day of trying to figure out like what you're going to delete off your console hard drive to get rid of space, it was much more frustrating back in the day.
At least nowadays we have cloud saves that make like the save game stuff like irrelevant.
hmm
But oh god, like or like let's say you have like 50 hours into Final Fantasy 7 and you're like deep into disc 2 about to do disc 3 and then you find out your little brother deleted it for his for like a Barty save game.
Yeah, it would cause schmurder.
It's actually written in the Constitution. It's Article 69, which says,
Nice.
"If thou brother delete saves, that you are legally allowed to delete them."
hmm
It's in the Constitution. Look it up.
What's crazy though, you almost needed a whole memory card to play Diablo because
Oh god,
um,
yes.
it would use one block of save memory for your characters and stuff. But if you actually wanted to save your game and your progress of where you're at, it took up almost the whole memory card.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was crazy. Um, Back in the day, yeah, it was crazy. So you definitely had two memory cards.
Do you ever play Warcraft 2 on the PlayStation?
I never have, no.
Yeah, that was a kind of like a weird era where they're trying to like port PC games. I mean, they'd
Com-
always done it. Like
Command
as
Command and
far back as
Conquer.
like the end, Command and Conquer, a lot of weird PC ports on the PlayStation. Did you know that at one point they're working on a Baldur's Gate port for the PlayStation?
Really, did not know that.
Yeah, it got canceled, but like there's a leak build of it that's playable.
Hmm. And then I guess we can't talk about PlayStation without talking about its origins and where the hell it came from. Um,
Sony was the original person to say "F you, Nintendo."
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, Nintendo was looking to make an add-on similar to the Sega CD. They're making a CD add-on for the Super Nintendo, and they had prototypes and everything ready to go, and they partnered with Sony to do it. And last minute, for some reason, they said, "Psych."
Apparently, Sony had put into the contract that they would get all like the profit from like the CD stuff, and I I get that that's a bad thing, but what Nintendo did, like we can debate like the efficacy of that. I know that's kind of more of a modern interpretation to blame Sony for this whole debacle, but Nintendo's not innocent either. At best, both parties are at fault.
Yeah,
Like Nintendo, there's like many ways Nintendo could have done that and still save face, you know?
yep,
Like even just like letting Nintendo know, like letting Sony know before the show, because you got to realize, so it's CES, whatever, 92 or whatever, and Sony is like, hey, we have this Nintendo PlayStation. We're partnered with Nintendo. Nintendo. You know, they do all this stuff, and Nintendo comes on the stage like, we're really excited to announce our partnership with Panasonic.
yeah.
It's
Made them look
kind of
like fools.
yeah, like even just like letting them know beforehand. Like, yeah, Sony might have been mad, but they wouldn't have been publicly embarrassed. You know.
And they said, you know what? They said, well, fuck it. We have, it's pretty much already done. So let's
I'm
go
gonna
ahead
build
and,
my own PlayStation with
yeah,
blackjack and hookers.
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah,
So if it wasn't for Nintendo, we wouldn't have Sony PlayStation.
I just love how Nintendo is really great at creating their own enemies.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I look at the PlayStation, I think PlayStation just took what the Genesis was doing and just took it up a notch.
Hmm.
Basically, the way I see it is you had little Timmy. When he was 3 to 6 years old, he had 4 to 11. He had an NES, and then he got a Genesis, and then when Timmy was 16, he got a PlayStation. You know
Yeah.
that route happened to a lot of kids
Hmm.
because it was kind of a natural thing to go from a Genesis to a PlayStation.
Yeah.
Because like the Genesis was kind of more of like an early teenager system, versus the PlayStation is more like late teenagers, full on adults. So like as you're growing up, it just felt kind of natural.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, like we're talking about like the marketing and stuff. PlayStation kind of had a general market, like that similar marketing vibe to the Genesis,
Hmm.
like that. Oh, this isn't your dad's video game system, kind of thing.
Yeah. And I remember one commercial where it was the Sega Saturn uh, talking smack about the PlayStation, and basically was saying how like the PlayStation only had like one processor, but the uh, the Sega Saturn had three processors, so it was so much better. And
Sony needs to do the math.
yeah, And they were like, "Yeah, fly, plaything, fly," as they're dropping it from like a cliff. And
What's funny is Saturn had like amazing marketing in Japan.
Yeah.
Castor, you're familiar with Sega Sanshiro, right?
yeah,
Those commercials are amazing.
yes,
I
and
would
that's
play them, but
all
we're
the
not.
way all the way up to the Dreamcast era.
We'll talk more about that next
Yeah.
week. Trust me, I will be playing some Sega Sanshiro commercials,
Yeah.
including his final one, where he gives his life for the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
How wild is that? Okay, we're talking about PlayStation here. So we've been positive a lot during the stream. Let's get negative for a second. What did you not like about the PlayStation?
Man, it's gonna be a very short list because there's not really many things I can think of that that I didn't like about it. I guess the biggest complaint is like sometimes is it gonna load or is it not gonna load?
Yeah.
um,
Like the reason why that loading screen is so blissful is you're hoping you get to the second screen, because if you
Yeah.
get to the second screen, odds are you're good. I mean, that's not foolproof. I've had games not load even after that screen.
Yeah.
But like 80, if it gets to the second screen, there's an 80% chance it's gonna work.
hmm And I think the two loading screens. What makes them so great is that you see them every time you boot up the system. So it's like you associate them with such great memories.
Yeah,
You
and
know you're in for a good time.
it's just so grandiose and like kind of an epic, but also has like a peaceful kind of thing to it.
hmm And then there's and then of course a little bit later on, and then later on in its life, near the end, they had the PS1 as it was called, and that is the smaller version, and it
Mhm.
had uh, some of them didn't come with it, and some of them did, but some of them had a bundle where you can get a portable screen with it.
Yep.
And they were trying to make PlayStation, the original one. They were trying to make the original PlayStation a little bit more portable. So all you had to do was just
So
plug it into a wall.
wait. So you're saying they tried to make a PlayStation portable?
Yep. Before the PSP. Yep.
Oh gosh.
But that was one of the selling points was that if you've got a wall outlet, you can play PlayStation because it had its own built-in screen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I think they had more limited use than you would realize.
Yeah, but I mean that was the marketing for it was that you could take it anywhere. You could take it if you're like waiting somewhere, like if there's like say if you're at a hospital, and you just plug it up and start playing PlayStation.
Honey, sorry. I'm fighting Sephiroth. I know our baby's being born. Just give me a second. One Winged Angel's playing.
Yeah, exactly. This is so epic. Oh, he's gonna be born to that music.
Oh God, now I want to do that. Oh, deep Sephiroth.
But yeah, that was the other model that came
So what
out.
are you naming your kid? We're naming him Sephiroth. No, and then the wife just gives you a look.
Yeah, we're naming him Sid. Yeah,
That one you might actually be able to get past.
Yeah. But yeah, they came out with a smaller version with a built-in screen, which was pretty cool. That seems to be how things go. I think it was how things progressed for a while. Is you had a console, and then a Slim would come out.
We're still kind of getting that. Like we did get a PS5 Slim, but it's
Yeah.
eh.
Well they
And
did that
Nintendo did it with the PS Lite, with the Nintendo with Switch Lite.
Yeah, well Nintendo did it with the NES or the Super NES. They had well they did with the NES too. They had the top loader, a smaller version, and then you had Super Nintendo had the Junior, and then Sega Genesis, it got even smaller until you had the Sega Genesis 3, which is also known as the hockey puck.
Yeah, I believe the Genesis 3 is kind of crap from what I hear.
It is. Well, it's decent because it's a Sega Genesis all in all, but
Mm.
you're getting the most bare bones of a system,
Yeah, for me,
because
when I think of a Genesis, I think the Model 2.
yeah, to me it's the Model 2.
But yeah, we keep drifting off into Sega. Next
Yeah,
week, Caster. Next week.
yeah, but that was the thing is like PlayStation's main competition. I think starting out, its main competition was the Saturn, but as things progressed, its main competition was the N64.
Yeah, I'm surprised they never did a revised version of 64. Like they did the colors, which was cool.
Yeah,
But that was so late in the game. Like that was like
yeah,
2000, I think, when they launched those.
yeah. So
They did price cut the N64 pretty aggressively though.
yeah,
Like I remember it got a price cut to 130 pretty early on.
hmm
Oh god. Remember when like they cut the GameCube to like $99, like midway through? Like they cut it like wasn't like early, but it was like way earlier than you'd think they would.
yeah. Trying to get those sales.
Yeah, which is why I'm looking forward. I feel like they're going to discount the Switch ones when the
Yeah.
Switch 2 comes out. Don't be surprised because if they put the Switch Lite at $99, oh boy, those things are going to sell like crazy.
Oh yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, and they put like the regular Switch.
hmm
Okay, here's my prediction: Switch Lite 100, regular Switch 200, Switch OLED 250.
hmm
Yeah, they'll be PlayStation.
Yeah.
So for me, the memory cards were always a pain to deal with.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess they were. Yeah.
Their analog stick implementation, I wasn't a fan of
hmm
because analog stick came out so late into so like 3 years into it that
Yeah.
most games didn't even support the analog stick. Like you had some games,
Yeah.
but like
And
your
that's
average games never did.
and you had to look for it too on the back of a game where it would say analog compatible. And but the thing was, you could turn that off though. You could turn the analog function off and play your original games with it.
Yeah, like even I don't know. I never really got it to work because like I just even with it on, I don't know. Like I love how they released a whole ass new version of Resident Evil 2 just for DualShock support. When like nowadays that just would have been a patch.
Yeah. Well, back in the day, yeah, you couldn't handle things with just a patch, because wasn't there was no internet access for the machine, so
Mm-hmm.
you had things like that. So if there were bugs or stuff like that, they were just in the game, you know.
Pretty much.
Um, but then when you heard then we heard rumors of the PlayStation 2 on the rise, and it was like, oh my God, the PlayStation 2, and that's a whole nother era, of its own. Um,
Yeah, and we'll do an episode on the PlayStation 2 someday. I don't have too many nostalgic memories about PS2. I didn't really have it during the day. I kind of got in like the 2010s. I do have love for the PS2 though. Like I do love the
yeah,
PS2. I just don't have as much nostalgia for it as some other stuff because I didn't
yeah.
play it or when it was new.
Mhm. I I do. I remember. I still remember the day I got mine.
Yeah. Do you still have a PS2?
I do not, but I do need to. I need to grab one. I don't know what
I
happened to
have
mine.
I have two PS2s. Um, one it actually has some sentimental memories because um around 2011 I moved out of my parents' house, kind of kicked out. That's the whole drama. I'm not getting into it. I moved in with some people, and the buddy I was staying with got his VA discount, and he gave me $100 to like spend on anything. Uh, Black Reaper, we will be getting top, and we will be talking about that. So he gave me $100 to spend on anything. Like he knew I was going to spend it on video games. So I went to my local game store, and I bought a PS2 and a couple of games. And I hadn't really been into like video games in almost 10 years at that point. And so I explored a lot of PS2 games at that time, and I had a ball. Like Dot Hack, Xenosaga, like so many great games I played during that time. And that man passed on, drug overdose. So that PS2, it's going to be hard for me to get rid of because he gave me the money to buy it, you know?
Yeah.
But Black Reaper kind of brings up something important that we got to talk about. The Digimon games are fire on the PS1.
That's gonna have to be all you, because I never played them on PlayStation.
What I loved about them is there was 3 main ones and there are a couple other ones, but each one was a different genre.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is more of a pet simulator.
Okay.
The second one is a dungeon crawler, kind of like a mystery dungeon kind of game. And the third one is more of a traditional RPG, but it's like it takes place in an MMO.
Mm-hmm.
And Digimon World 2 is probably my favorite, but I love all of them. And they also released Digimon Rumble, which is essentially Smash Brothers. And there's a card game thing for the the card game is actually an actual game on there.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of card games, one PS1 game that I want to give a shout out to is Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories.
I was gonna say that. Yep, Forbidden Memories.
Because the thing is, a lot of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Games in the early days were just like the console ones anyway, were just random ass games, you know? Like they weren't really the card games per se. Forbidden Memories was the card game. I mean, obviously different rules, kind of, but it was really close approximation.
Yeah.
And that game was really Sorry, go ahead, Castor.
Yeah. I was gonna say a lot of them had a lot of the different Yu-Gi-Oh games at that point had like a weird gimmick or some kind of different kind of play style, but it would incorporate the monsters into it somehow, but not the straight up TGC, you know.
Yeah, I think the first Yu-Gi-Oh game that I played was Dark Duel Stories. That was on Game Boy Color. And then the Game Boy Advance games are really kind of where things got off. I need to get the Yu-Gi-Oh early days collection.
Yeah, I need something else I need to get to. Yeah. And then also I had it in my head. What was it? Oh. I can't believe I forgot about it. Oh yeah, because you're talking about Digimon, and that made me think of Monster Rancher.
Yes.
And you had the gimmick where you would put in different discs to see what monsters would appear out of those discs.
And certain CDs, you get specific monsters. I remember Mariah Carey's Christmas album would get you a snow wolf.
Okay. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, one I actually kind of want to look this up right now. I'm pulling it up. What's interesting is during the PS2 era, they actually added CDs to it. I got it right here.
You mean like DVDs?
Yeah, certain DVDs would get it. Right. All right, I got the list right here. Let's take a look, shall we? Paula Abdul, Head Over Heels would get you a shrub. AC/DC Back in Black would get you a Jello.
Oh wow.
Apparently, the devs really loved AC/DC for some reason. Volt would get you a Buster. That's kind of funny. Ace of Base, Aerosmith. Oh God, Aerosmith Pump would get you a Toto. That's kind of funny. Alice in Chains Sap would give you a Woody. Let's see here. Tori almost gets you. It's just kind of interesting, like looking at some of these monsters, and like the Bare Naked Ladies got you an Aloha. That tracks. Backstreet Boys Christmas Time gets you Dino. B-52's Cosmic Theme gets you a spinner. Aqua Aquarium gets you the spinner. And then B-52's Cosmic Theme gets you a balloon. Oh my God. Beach Boys Concert gets you Stripe. Do you get that? Because like they had like a lot of their had stripes on it. That's actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm loving this. Let's see here. Beatles, Dento, Bristol. Let's see here. Berlin Greatest Hits. That's a Top Gun one. Best of Techno Volume 1 is a stoner.
Wow. Wow.
I love how some of these they knew what they were doing. Bjork, Geisha, Mono Eye.
And that's another thing too. Like, you know, there was some games out there which actually featured actual, like, you know, pop songs on their their games and stuff. You know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There was
okay.
I forget, there was one. I can't remember what it was called. There was one like beat 'em up for the PlayStation that actually had Fatboy Slim on it.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh, Classic Rock Volume 2 gets you a rainbow. That's cool. The Clash gets you Combat Rock. Eric Clapton gets you a drill. Chumbawamba Tub Hopper gets you Rocky. That's
wow.
Cool. Chopin. Chipmunks. Xmas with Santa gets you a Santa.
That's funny.
Oh God, I love this. So yeah, like some of these are generic, but some of these you knew what they were doing, and I love it.
Mm-hmm. And then we had and then we had also, you know, talk about PlayStation. You also talk about we had the PlayStation magazine, PlayStation Underground.
Yep.
You know, and you always got every issue you got came with a demo disc.
Did
Which
you ever
had
watch the? I think there's a Cadecris episode where it actually goes through every volume.
Oh, really? I don't know. I don't know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get like a demo disc, and there would be like it'd either be trailers for games, or it would actually be actual demos for games. You know, and it was real neat seeing what games they had to come out playing. You know, it was something a little extra within the magazine itself, and the magazine itself was actually really good too.
Yeah, what I loved is you had PlayStation Underground, and then you had the demo discs.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I was a kid, I had a demo disc, and there was actually secret demos you could find. Like, if you like you press like one of the LR buttons, you flip the screen, and it would show like a code. Like demo discs had codes. Like that was so cool to like 12-year-old Nick.
I can't remember which game it was, but there was one game they threw out on a demo disc, which actually had the whole entire game on it.
I remember that. I think it might have been Crash Bash.
It might have been, but it had the whole entire game on it, and you could actually somehow there was a way to access it.
I think it might have been Crash Bash because I remember hearing about that, like watching a video or something.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Crash Bash is not that good because I was a huge Crash fan as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
From like Crash 3 through Crash Bash. I basically got a new Crash game every year. I got Crash 3, which is amazing. Crash Team Racing, which, by the way, is like the best game ever. Crash Team Racing is better than Mario Kart. Fight me.
Yeah.
We got a lug in the chat.
Oh no.
Which, speaking, since Lug is here, can we talk about Doom? The PlayStation version of Doom. I can just hear Lug's elf ears perking up right now. Like the PlayStation version of Doom was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And I think they did Final Doom as well on the PS1.
Probably one of the worst ports they had was Quake on the PlayStation.
Quake 2.
Quake 2, because it was before they had thumbsticks, so you had to use the shoulder buttons to go forward and backward and up and down to aim.
Not only that, but think about Quake 2. Lug is like the version of Doom with the Doom theme. All right, and if you too like Doom, especially on the PlayStation 1, please make sure to give us a like, everybody. Press that like button. Press subscribe if you haven't. All right, sorry, I had to do that.
Yeah. Smash that like button.
Smash it. Smash it like it owes you money. Which, I don't know. Do I owe you money? But yeah, first person shooters, I don't know, they were kind of touch and go on, like they tried on the PlayStation.
They tried, yeah.
Dark Forces actually was a pretty decent port for PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about Dark Forces is it was basically like a Doom clone kind of thing, so it worked a little bit better.
Yeah. One game that I could never ever get, like I could never figure out what the hell to do, and I would just get bored, and then never play it again, and then until I would like get the urge to try to figure it out again, and then the same thing would happen. I have no idea what the hell I'm doing, and then I just leave it. Was Oddworld Abe's Odyssey?
Oh gosh, I've never played those. I recently got like a bunch of them for like $1 or something. I need to give it a try.
Yeah, there was like Abe's Exodus and Munch's Odyssey and all that stuff.
Munch was for Xbox.
Yeah, I'm just saying there was like a whole bunch of them. They came out, but I still have no idea how to play the first one. I get stuck and I'm like, okay,
Yeah, Abe's Odyssey kind of reminds me of like Flashback and Another World, like those kind of games.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, I could never get into those games. I tried.
Mm-hmm.
You ever play Ridge Racer?
Yeah, that was a good.
Ridge Racer. Like, yeah, the PlayStation had some amazing racing games.
Need for Speed.
Hot Pursuit, all those.
Driver.
Oh gosh, the first level broke so many people.
Yeah.
Oh, we just got booped by Black Ripper Kai. Boop.
All right.
Hey, works for me. Obviously, I said Crash Team Racing. Do you remember Daredevil Derby 3D?
No, I don't.
It was a top-down racer.
Okay.
I had it as a kid. It was kind of like it seemed like kind of reminded me of like Wacky Racers, but like without the license.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of it.
Funny story. I remember I bought with the first job I ever had, flipping burgers. First paycheck I ever bought, and first paycheck I got from flipping burgers, went and bought a PlayStation, bought a DualShock, and I bought Tomb Raider as my first game, and so one day I'm playing the the demo disc, and I think it had a demo for the Jersey Devil, which was
Oh, that game. I need.
one
Yeah,
of
that's good.
one of many platformers. And I'm sitting there playing it, and all of a sudden the controller shook, scared the absolute shit out of me.
Rumble.
Did not know about the rumble feature, scared the absolute shit out of me. I was like, "What the fuck happened to my controller? Why is it moving?" And then I was like, "Oh, wait a minute!" And then I kept like moving the character around. I was like, "Oh, it vibrates with that's so fucking cool." Like I didn't even know about the rumble version.
All right,
I thought,
Caster. We have a bot in the Twitch chat for you.
okay, let me switch over to
All right.
Twitch.
And so while Caster uses the band hammer that I've granted him, let me show you this Daredevil Derby 3D game. And of course, it chooses. This is really frustrating. All right. There we go. All right, I'm just gonna. But yeah, it was like a top-down racer. It was kind of fun. Like I said, it had like some wacky racers vibe.
All right, Parasite.
Yeah, it's like a nice. Thank you. There you go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I see.
apparently my internet. Yeah, apparently my internet doesn't like sharing videos for some reason. But yeah, it was a pretty fun game.
Yeah. And what I loved about PlayStation was there was the real big popular games, but there was always like also like these little unknown gems flying around. There was because there was so
Like
many
what?
games in the library. Well, like I remember there was one game I kind of like playing. No one can stop Mr. Domino, and it was a weird game from Japan.
Okay.
But yeah, there was always like sometimes you'd find like a little gem here and there. There was one I think it was called Overblood. It was kind of like an early horror game. Played that. I liked that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, trying to think what else games they had that just no one knew about.
Intelligent Cube. Intelligent Cube. I mean, that's kind
uh,
of like a little more of a famous one.
yeah, Intelligent Cube. Yeah.
Um,
MDK. Remember that one?
oh God, yeah, I remember that one. And then MDK2, I think was like one of the first ones done by Shiny.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
what's weird is Rayman. Uh, like Rayman is technically a Jaguar game, but it kind of came into its own. Um, so Black Reaper claims to be the bot, but he's gonna lurk for right now, which that's fine. Lurk, stare at us menacingly.
I am the boy, the bot. I mean,
I mean, I am the walrus, cuckoo cuckoo.
eh.
Sorry, I was waiting to say that one. But like, what's really weird is Sony keeps trying to claim that Jumping Flash is like, oh, it's this like classic quintessential PlayStation game, but nobody talked about it until they started doing the classic collection. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess like I get it. It was like it was a 3D platformer that actually predates Mario 64. Like, yes, you predate Mario 64. You have that, but you're not Mario 64.
No, not by a long shot.
Yeah. There are a couple games that tried to like do the Mario 64 thing. I think Gex, especially as it like got on the series, came pretty close to matching the Mario 64 formula.
Mm-hmm.
Like especially if you look at like Gex 3, like that's a pretty decent game. Like it's not quite Mario 64 level, but it's pretty darn close.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it's a pretty serviceable platformer in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You don't care about Gex, do you?
I never played it much, but no. Another thing too is remember in the early days of the PlayStation they had like the actual like FMVs with like real actors.
Oh yeah, yeah. Those games like Riven, 5 discs.
Hmm.
That was a sequel to Myst. It was like a series of like high res like PNGs kind of thing.
Hmm.
Oh gosh, or like you'd have like random games that have like live action cutscenes, and they'd all be acted terribly because it's like, all right, we got the programmer, he's the cadet, and we have the audio lead being his CO, and the love interest is the secretary sister who was visiting for the day, and we put her to work.
Yeah. So are we talking about Wing Commander? That's
I guess.
what it
And
sounded
Mark
like.
Hamill. Oh, and Mark Hamill's here too. We don't know why. He just showed up and we put him in camera.
Yeah, he was doing Batman down the hall, and we just threw him in here.
Yeah, and apparently John Rhys Davis was doing a voiceover for a Indiana Jones game, and he was on his lunch break and he decided to have some fun.
Hmm.
Like oh gosh. Yeah, like Wing Commander 4 was on the PlayStation, if I remember correctly.
Hmm.
I think that was like the first big budget Wing Commander game. Yeah, that was the one with Mark Hamill, and it was Wing Commander 4.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to talk about like random games that I had? So I had this game called Top Gun Fire at Will. Okay, because I don't know if you remember this, there was a lot of Top Gun games for like the PS1 and PS2. Like it was a thing for a while.
Yeah.
Um,
There's also Ace
and
Combat too.
oh, I never played Ace Combat. I need to do it. It was a very arcadey game, but like in between missions, you would have cutscenes. All right, they got the CO from the movie. You know, the bald guy.
Hmm.
They actually got him for the cutscenes.
Wow.
Um,
That's awesome.
okay, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try and pull up one of these cutscenes. Um, uh, uh, but all right. All of these scenes. Um, this is the secret. This is the Top Gun 2 they never told you about.
You just did an incredibly brave thing.
You heard him, right? And he's doing his lines from the movie too. I don't know if you see that.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
And then earlier we mentioned you're mentioning how they had the amazing
What you should have
2D.
done was land your plane. You don't own that plane.
He's just Like,
Oh
can you just
wow.
can you see how glorious this is?
Oh yeah.
It's this guy. Like you can tell he's like 10 years older though. That's funny.
Plane, the taxpayers do.
Yes, sir.
Cougar's out. He turned them in.
He's the best, sir.
Was.
This is like a multiverse movie or something. I swear.
Mm.
2 days from now, I was going to bring him with me to Miramar. You know, I got to do something here. I still can't believe it. I'm going to give you your dream shot.
It is so weird, isn't it? Like I haven't seen these in a while, but
Yeah. And I love how they always like looked into the camera because you were the camera.
yeah. Oh gosh, there's one where your main character, you win the Top Gun trophy, and like they show him walking up to the podium, and they literally like awkwardly hand him the like the plaque or whatever. Like, and this is all, and they're looking dead in the camera for you. It's hilarious.
Oh wow.
By the way, did you know that that guy, he's also in Back to the Future?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's the principal.
Yeah, but it's just wild. You should play this game sometime, Castor. It's actually not bad. I've been playing it forever. Or at least watch the cutscenes because they're wild.
Yeah. Now you were saying earlier about like how they had the awesome 2D Mega Man games on there, but
Yeah.
I think we'd be amiss if we didn't mention the awesome 3D Mega Man games that are on the PlayStation.
Mega Man Legends, yes.
Mega Man Legends, Mega Man Legends 2, and the unattainable, because it's retardedly expensive, Adventures of Tronbon.
Yeah. I mean, also let's not forget the pinnacle of video game voice acting that is Mega Man 8.
Yeah.
What do you make of these?
These? Seems to be energy resources. But I've never seen this type on Earth. I don't know where this energy came from, but I cannot let it fall into Dr. Wowie's hands. You must...
Dr. Wowie.
Yeah, I was like, did he have a list? That Dr. Wowie hands.
Wascally Wabbit.
recover all the energy immediately, Mega Man.
But where is Dr. Wily?
That's a good question.
See, Mega Man, like Dr. Light programmed, like, you gotta realize, Dr. Light programmed him. He programmed Mega Man with better enunciation than he had. Think about that for a moment.
Mega Man.
We may be able to locate another energy emission from the radar room. When we find that meteor, we'll find Dr. Wily.
Dr. Wowie.
It's so good. I love it.
Oh my god, reminds me of the one bad guy from Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridged. We talk like this the whole time. Well, hello, douchebags. How you doing all?
Oh gosh.
Everybody's gonna get their deck out and do him. We're gonna what? You're gonna do him, and then you're gonna do him, and then I'm gonna do him and watch. Are you saying do? Of course I'm saying do. Yeah, just whip your deck out and do him. Oh. But anywho.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat was kind of in a weird place in the late 90s because like Mortal Kombat initially had a bad for like Mortal Kombat 4. It's not the worst game ever. It's playable, but it is awkward.
Yeah. That's the one where they started transitioning into like 3D, right?
Yeah, you notice how they did MK4 and then they just kind of stopped for a while. Like they did Special Forces, they did Mythologies. It wasn't really until the PS2 where they kind of got the footing again.
Oh god, Special Forces. Ugh. Talk about putting a bad taste in your mouth.
You know what's really funny? The only spin-off game that's like a MK spin-off game that's like mildly playable is Shaolin Monks.
You know what? I totally forgot about that game when he just mentioned it. Holy crap.
From what I understand, like that game is actually kind of decent.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think of some great games here, but I think we've mentioned so many, you know. There's just
what are some of the worst PS1 games in your opinion?
Worst game is I believe it's oh my god, it was I forget the name of it. It was a time traveling game, and the controls were so bad. It was like you had to go back in the past
to play the shitty game and it sucks ass.
Yeah, I forget what it's called, but time travel was part of the story.
You want to know what PS1 game is a bane of my existence?
Mm.
All right, I'm inserting this into my lore now. Cubics Robot Racing. That game is such a freaking seeming pile of turd. You want to know how you accelerate in this game? So most games, especially in this area, you press X. Nowadays, you do the shoulder triggers, but most of them you press X or square. Okay. Do you want to know how you accelerated? You press up.
I was about to say you do something stupid like press up, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You can literally beat the game in like half an hour. And your reward is like an extra character that's like super fast and broken. But you've already beaten the game, and you're like, I don't want anything more to do with this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's so bad.
I really gotta find out that name of that game, because that was such a terrible game that I literally threw it in the trash. Literally just threw it in the trash.
Did you ever play Mech Warrior 2 for PS1?
I did not.
It's really good. I remember playing that game. It was I rented a lot of games from my local video store back during that time. Oh, that was so fun. Like as a kid, it's like you got your report card. Oh well, Nick, you got all B's, you got all A's, you got good grades. You know what your reward is? You get to go to the video store. You get to rent any video game you want.
And what'd you get?
And yeah, I got that and some other games. Another game I rented that was terrible was Hulk the Pantheon Saga. Oh my god.
Oh wow.
It was dark as hell. Though that might have been my TV because I had a dark TV at the time. But I just remember I just like was like rocking around trying to find like that one switch to trigger stuff. It was not a good game.
Oh, Time Commando. That I thought that was the worst game ever.
You said it like I love the way you said that.
But Steam has it at a 9 out of 10. Oh, that's bullshit. That was a terrible game.
That is bullshit. That is bullshit. That review lies. Oh, hi, Castor.
I did not.
So like I said earlier, Contra Legacy War is a steaming pile of dog poo that you should avoid at all costs.
Mm-hmm.
It controls terribly. The game is cheap. Please do not play that game.
One game that I think has some of the best cinematics, like of just like in-game cinematics.
Mm-hmm.
I would say probably Tenchu 2.
Okay.
It has some very good voice acting, very good like I think it has some very good in-game cutscenes. One of my actually favorite games on PlayStation. I love the Tenchu series. They kind of after PlayStation 2, they just kind of I don't know, died out. You just didn't hear about it too much. Which is a lot of games were, you know.
Oh, another series of games I want to highlight is the Disney games. Were actually pretty decent. Like Emperor's New Groove is actually surprisingly not a bad game.
I know a lot of people enjoy Hercules also.
Yeah, I need to give that a proper go sometime. Let's see here. Think of the Disney games I played. Tarzan, I played that a lot as a kid. I tried playing it on stream. Oh gosh, I cannot. yeah. I think you were there for a couple of those times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got quite a ways into it as a kid. But obviously Tony Hawk. You know, we gotta bring that. I played a lot of Thrasher, Skate and Destroy. That Rockstar actually made that one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a pretty like it plays differently than Tony Hawk. Like it has kind of a different like physics model, not bad, mind you, but different. And once you get used to it, it's actually kind of good, in my opinion.
Okay.
I'd say give it a try. Dave Merritt's Freestyle BMX. It's a Tony Hawk game, but with bikes, but it's literally in the same engine. I thought it was pretty fun. I think Matt Hoffman actually had the park creator before Tony Hawk 2, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong.
And then I will say one memory I have for the PlayStation is that PlayStation was the first system that made me rage.
Okay,
And
what game was
and
it?
and I raged so hard that I jumped out of my chair and did a Hadouken and actually put a dent in the ceiling.
Okay, now you
I was
gotta tell
so
me what
mad.
game this is, man.
I was so mad. I was so mad. I gotta look up the character's name before I even say anything here. Um, but I was playing Darkstalkers 3,
Ooh.
and I was playing Dimitri, the vampire. And if you play Dimitri's usually um, he's usually the boss. But if you play as
Hmm.
Dimitri, you get another boss, which I believe his name is Judai. And Judai is so annoyingly cheap. I absolutely hate him more than anything. And yeah, Gedai, Jedi, Jeddah Doma, and he's the boss. He's the boss if you're playing as Dimitri, and I tried so hard to beat him. I, I I think when I finally did, I screamed out in triumph. But one time I got so mad because he kept beating me, and not only does he beat you, but he gives you that kind of noblewoman laugh.
Oh God.
That where he like puts his hand in front of his mouth and does that like real high screeching like laugh. Yeah, but it's like really high pitched
Hmm.
laugh, and I'm just like
Did somebody
I'm
say Screecher?
yeah,
See,
and
see, I caught you.
yeah,
You started to say it, then you realized what was going to happen, but I caught you
yeah,
anyway.
yeah. But yeah, it does high pitched laugh, and it just oh my god, it pissed. After hearing it like 20 times, it pissed me off. So finally, I got so mad, I was like, "Oh, fuck this game!" And I just like jumped up in the air. I don't know what I did. I was flailing around, and I remember like hitting my head on the ceiling because we had kind of like a low ceiling, and I looked up and there was just like a knuckle print into the ceiling. I was like, oh, look down, my hands all bleeding and stuff. I was like, oh
Oh,
man. And
okay.
I had ripped because I still had the controller in my hand. I ripped it out and it ripped out the PlayStation. Oh, but I was so mad. It was the first time I ever like raged in a game. I was screaming and cussing.
I remember when I first played Castor and I as a kid. Um, I'm like when you die, he gets like all bloody. He screams, rises up, and then it like does that wipe. That
Hmm.
scared me so much as a kid.
Hmm.
But yeah, like Sunday Night's a great game. A lot of the Star Wars games were fun as hell. Some of them were kind of janky. Did you ever play Masters of Terrace Cussie?
No, I didn't, but I know what you're talking about, but I never played it. No.
That game is so terrible. Please never play it. I remember
Yeah.
one time I was playing it, and like it was a Luke Skywalker for the Luke Skywalker match. Um, and so we started the game. We exchanged like a few blows, and all of a sudden Luke just like floated back and forth, like he got still, and he floated from one end of the screen to the other until it timed out.
Wow.
But you know what the worst part is? Terrace Cussie is canon to Disney. Do you want to know how?
How?
So in Solo, a Star Wars story, there's a scene where Amelia Clark's character does some fancy martial arts to take someone out. Okay, and somebody says, "Oh God, you're cringing so hard right now." So somebody says, "Nice moves. What are they?" And she says, "It's Terrace Cussie." They literally wrote a scene just for that drop. Like they put effort into doing that. Castor, breathe in and out. Think of
I know.
boobies. Think
I
of
know.
Lara Croft pointy boobies.
I'm look. Oh my god! I'm looking at the cyanide. I'm under the high. Oh my god! Oh, that just it hurts on a spiritual level.
Like you just imagine Lara Croft's rack that is made of 3 whole tries.
So you're telling me it looks like the top of a Tesla truck?
Okay. Let me just okay. All right, I got a picture up. Okay. For like the one person who doesn't get the joke.
Yeah. Over there. She's driving a Tesla.
I'd love to drive a Tesla on those. God.
I remember.
Bonk, bonk.
I remember seeing a cosplayer one time. She actually had styrofoam in her like in her where she had styrofoam in there, and she looked like she had like square boobs. Yeah, right there. I think
think
that's
there's I swear
best
there's
cosplay
one.
ever.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, best cosplay ever. The triangle boobs.
Yeah. Like there are so few polygons for that.
Oh, and remember back in the day when people were trying desperately to put in a nude Raider code?
Oh, and did you know? I think it's like Tomb Raider 2 or 3. They actually like created a code, and then they leaked it out to like the magazines, and like they said, "Oh yeah, we got a nude code. Here, just input this." And he input the code in the game. Laura just explodes.
Wow, that's funny.
They trolled the audience because like they saw for PS1 like they saw how many people were trying to do that. And so they literally put in a code to troll people like that. I respect that.
Yeah, but yeah. So like to me, it's like you got the early stages of PlayStation. Like 95, 96.
Well, even as early as 94, actually.
Yeah, but then but then when you get like 97, 98, 99, I feel that's when PlayStation really was hitting its stride.
Yeah, like you can really kind of classify PlayStation in a couple eras. Like 94 to 96 is early days. Like that's like early days. 97 to 99 is like the golden peak PS1. And then 2000 to 2003 that's like kind of like, you still got some good games that came out here and there, but PlayStation was out, it's like kind of winding down.
Yeah,
like
it
I'd
was
say
winding
97
down.
to 99 was like peak PlayStation.
But it was but that's the thing though, it's like it was winding down, but it still produced some bangers, which was crazy.
Yeah.
Because Chrono Cross was actually like came out in 2000, so but actually, yeah, and I think also I think Vagrant Story was also 2000, I believe. So yeah, so actually, so still had a few tricks up its sleeve, which I like.
Let's look up PS1 games in the year 2000. Which, by the way, 2000 is when the PS2 came out. Spyro: Year of the Dragon, great game. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, literally one of the best games ever. Final Fantasy 9. Vagrant Story. Siphon Filter 2. We didn't talk about the Siphon Filter. Tenchu 2. WWF. Oh, the wrestling games on PS1 were great, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
X-Men Mutant Academy, that game's ass. Medieval 2.
Yep.
Persona 2. Cool Borders 2001. I played the PS2 version of that game. That game was pretty fun on PS2.
Driver 2, I see up there.
Yeah. Medal of Honor Underground.
Mm-hmm.
Breath of Fire 4. Oh, Batman Beyond Return of the Joker is so bad. That is such a bad game.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Mirra Freestyle BMX. Knockout Kings. Road Rash, Jailbreak. Yeah, the Road Rash games were pretty good on PS1.
Yeah. So
Um,
I think it went out. I think it went out with a bang. It went out with some good bangers. You know.
Now we're in 2001, and you're starting to see it kind of whittle down because
Mhm.
2000 like a very solid year. Um, that's a GIMP port. The first Harry Potter game came out in 2001. That's pretty iconic. Spider-Man 2, that's a good one. X6, I think, was okay if I remember correctly. Um, but yeah, you're starting to see. Um, yeah, you're starting to get like PS2 games here in this mix.
Yeah. So
Um,
so that's the thing. Is like yeah, it didn't really slow down until the other system actually came out. You know.
I'm going year by year now. Yeah, 2002. Now we're kind of getting Digimon World 3, legit good. Arc the Lad Collection. Harry Potter Chamber of Secrets.
We got Shrek.
Uh, oh god, Shrek games. Yeah, we're really getting some PS2 games mixed in here. Like Grinding Extreme, that was a PS2 game. Yeah, it's really getting thin. I'm gonna look at like 2003. I don't think we're gonna get any like. I mean, I think the last PS1 game was like what 2006 or something, but yeah, there's really nothing of note in 2003.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, like 2002, you got a few decent releases, but yeah, 2003 we're well into the PS2 thing right here, but yeah, like just going back to 2000, like this is a banger of a lineup. Episode 1, Jedi Power Battles, um,
Hmm.
007 Racing. Oh my god, that game's so bad. Frogger 2, Swampy's Revenge. Oh, Star Wars Demolition. That was Star Wars trying to do um the Twisted Metal thing.
Well, right here it says the final game developed for the PlayStation was Jet Ace, a shoot 'em up flight simulator released in November 2004. However, the final game released for the PlayStation was Strider Hiryu, a re-release of a 2000 port released in October 2006. Jeez.
What's funny though is up until a few years ago, you could buy PS1 games on the Square Enix site.
Really?
Yeah, like like the um um but yeah, I remember like this is like up until recently you buy brand new ones.
Hmm.
Um like I'm like here's the this is the Square Enix here's the Square Enix official store right now. So like they have PS2 games you can buy brand new right now.
Hmm.
These are brand
Wow.
new.
Oh, wow.
Yep, they have one PSP game. Um, and looks like they have a PS. And then they have yep. Let's see here, and then they have a DS game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
And this is on the Square Enix site.
Yes, in the US, you
Huh.
can buy Kingdom Hearts 2, 10, 2, and 12 for PS2, brand new right now.
Wow, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, but yeah, like the ones that you got later, they actually had like a standard silver
Hmm.
backing.
Yeah.
That's how you could tell they're like the later ones.
Okay.
But yeah, that's wild. Do you remember the Net Eurosi?
The what?
PS1 Net Eurosi allowed you to make your own games.
No.
Yeah, that was a thing they released. Do you remember the Pocket Station?
Vaguely, the name sounds familiar.
It's basically Sony's attempt to copy the VMU. It was a Japanese-only device, but they did plan on bringing it to the US, and some games were actually designed to work with it. And in fact, like Final Fantasy VIII, if you have a Pocket Station, you can actually use the US version with the Pocket Station.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a VMU. It's basically a VMU.
Okay.
Yeah, just kind of an interesting oddity, really. Did you ever play music CDs through the PS1?
Of course. Yeah, because it was actually.
Did yours have a visualizer? Because I think some of the later ones had a visualizer on them.
Yes, I had the visualizer. Yes.
Lucky bastard, Mike didn't.
Yeah, I loved it. But I would, I definitely would do. Yeah, I'd pop in a music CD and just jam out, while I'm doing stuff,
Like Sony is always like one thing I find interesting about Sony is like through PS1 through PS3, they always use their consoles to push the format. Like PS1 push CDs, PS2 to DVDs, PS3 Blu-rays. But the thing about the PS1 is, like, a lot of people use, like, the thing is, by the time the PS1 came out, there was already a lot of CD players out there,
Yeah.
Like, Discmans were pretty uncommon, but like, a lot of cards had CD players. A lot of people had stereos.
Yeah.
But when, like, the PS2 came out, DVDs were still, like, players still somewhat expensive, and the PS2 was a very competitively priced DVD player.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. I mean, not only could you play your games in it, but you could also watch movies.
And I knew a lot of people that used the PS2 as their DVD player. I knew a lot of people that did.
Including myself. I did.
I mean, hell, there's probably still a lot of people who use a PS3 as a Blu-ray player even to this day. Like, literally,
Yeah.
I do that. I have a PS3 hooked up right now, and I sometimes pop a Blu-ray into it.
Oh, I use my Series X to play Blu-rays because it has Blu-ray player in it, so watch movies on that too. Yeah,
fancy.
Yeah. So if you got a gaming console, you really don't need a any kind of player, unless you're a Switch only person.
I actually had a period where like my PS3 controller was broken because I spilled water on it. And I actually had bought a standalone Blu-ray player just because, like, couldn't find a controller for it. So I have two on them right now. That's funny.
Okay.
But yeah. Okay. Top 5 PS1 games. Any order. Go.
Final Fantasy VII, Metal Gear Solid, Twisted Metal 2, Tenchu 2, and I gotta think of it. I don't know. I can't just think of one here. Let me look at my collection real quick. I need some. I need to look at my collection real quick to get some answers here. Probably Chrono Cross.
Okay. All right, for me, it is Crash Team Racing, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, Gran Turismo 2, and Final Fantasy 8.
All right.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So we're kind of like reaching the 150 mark, so we're gonna start wrapping up.
Yeah.
All right, if you made it this far, please make sure to give us a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Follow if you're on the Twitch streams. I'll be streaming tomorrow. We'll be returning to Comic Watch. We'll be reviewing Batman Hush. Doing that one. Jared and me are getting the band back together. Really cool. Next week, we are going to do our ode to Sega, because me and Castor were both big Sega nerds, so long time coming. What's your guys' favorite PlayStation games? Please tell us in the comments. And then the schedule is Tuesday, more Final Fantasy VII. Friday Night Frenzy, we'll be reviewing the Sonic movie. Vaughn Coleman will be here. And then on Saturday, we'll be starting to play Control. That'll be a really interesting game. So, yeah. Castor, any final thoughts, sir?
Well, I just want to say, if you've never been part of the PlayStation 1 era, definitely, go to a garage or something and find yourself a PlayStation 1 and find some games and pop them in. I mean, it's a very, very great system to play. A very good system to collect, too, for.
Yeah, and even if you just have a PS2 and you play PS1 games on that is equally valid.
Or PS3.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually... Okay. I have to, real quick. The PS3 is literally the best way to play PS1 games. I am not freaking joking. For a couple reasons. One, wireless controllers. Two, memory card backup. You don't have to worry about memory cards. So, you can pop the disc in, and wireless controllers, and it's awesome. Memory cards. And then if you have the memory card adapter, you can actually transfer your PS1 saves to the PS3. Granted, those are very rare. But guess who has one?
Yeah. And also, the thing is, if the earlier models of the PS3, the later models, what they did was they actually have a PS2, PS1 emulator, whereas the first ones actually have a physical PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 in the actual machine.
Well,
so
okay, a little.
Yeah.
All PS3s can play PS1 games.
Yes.
Because I have a Super Slim.
Yeah.
But only the original model can play PS2 discs. If you buy a game off a PS2 game at the store and do that, that's fine. I think if you mod your PS3, the later ones can kind of emulate PS2.
Yeah.
But
my point was that my point was that the earlier model actually had the actual PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 hardware in there also.
Agreed. But those are very hard to find and they're very sought after. So
yeah.
But if you're just trying to play PS1, any PS3 is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And I'm the opinion the PS3 is the best way to play PS1 games.
Mostly because you can play it with an HDMI, and so you have a digital picture.
Yeah. Also, wireless controllers, and you don't have to worry about memory cards.
Yeah. So and plus the game will look better playing through a PlayStation 3, than it will with the actual PlayStation. So
yeah, one thing I always liked is, did you know during the PSP, PS3 era, if you had a PS1 Classic, you could actually transfer your saves in between.
Really?
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I did not know that either. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always loved the downloading PS1 Classics on the PSP was so cool. I remember when that happened, having Final Fantasy without modding on your your PSP was so freaking cool.
Mm-hmm.
God,
exactly.
So yeah, we're gonna wrap up now. Thank you everyone for joining us. You guys are awesome. Like, comment, subscribe. All the YouTuber bullshit. Follow if you're on the Twitch. I see you two people there. I see we have people there. Thank you. This has been Nick from the Phoenix Press, and remember, I can only show you the door. You're the one to walk through it.